How's it going, guys and girls? Hope you guys are having a great weekend. So it's that time again, guys. It's time to talk about the top 5 games coming out in May 2017, which already looks like it's going to be a very interesting month. So let's begin. The very first game coming out is Prey, which comes out on the 5th of May and will be available on the PlayStation 4, PC and Xbox One. Developed by Arcane Studios and published by Bethesda, Prey is a first-person action-adventure survival horror game. Players control the main human protagonist by the name of Morgan Yu, who is a human astronaut orbiting the moon and becomes trapped on the space station Talos 1 when a research hostile alien species by the name of the Typhon escape confinement. The player is basically left to use a variety of weapons and abilities derived from these aliens to avoid being killed as they look to escape the station. The gameplay itself is your typical first-person action game, so there are weapons in there like shotguns, assault rifles, pistols, but there are a number of weapons as well, like the glue gun, which looks very interesting, and also certain abilities as well, the ability to hack, to morph, to shapeshift, and all these abilities you get from these aliens. The game looks very similar to games like the BioShock series and also Dishonored, so if you are a fan of those games, then this is probably right up your street. It is a reimagining of the 2006 original Prey game, and the developers have called it a spiritual sequel to System Shock. For those of you that might be interested, there is a playable demo available at the moment on the PlayStation Store and Xbox One, and also on Steam, so you can go in and jump in and check out the game before looking at buying it. But this game is definitely on my radar and it looks really interesting. The second game coming out in May is Injustice 2, which will be available on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, Android and iOS. It is coming out in North America on May the 16th, in Australia on May the 17th, and in Europe on May the 19th. Developed by NetherRealm Studios, who are famous for rebooting the Mortal Kombat series, and published by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, it is a sequel to the 2013 Injustice Gods Among Us, which was one of the best DC fighting games out there. Injustice 2 retains numerous gameplay mechanics from its predecessor, including things like environmental interaction, stage transitions, clashes and character traits. But there are a number of new features introduced into this game, including something called the Gear System, a loot dropping system that rewards players with costume pieces and equipment that can be used to customize characters' appearances and modify their abilities and stats. The gear system uses RPG-like mechanics to reward players with experience and loot at the end of every match. Gear comes in 3 varieties, including equipment, shaders and abilities. In addition to the main campaign, online and arcade modes, Injustice 2 will also introduce a new multiverse mode. The multiverse allows players to travel through a series of parallel worlds within the DC universe and battle against opponents with various handicaps, stipulations and goals. There will be at least 32 playable characters, including I believe 9 additional DLC characters that will become available. Now, with regards to the storyline itself, it is a direct sequel to the 2013 Injustice Gods Among Us, and the storyline centers around Batman and his insurgency's attempt to restore society after the fall of Superman's evil regime. However, their efforts are complicated by the newly formed supervillain group known as the Society and the alien Brainiac. Now, if you are a fan of fighting games, then this game is probably right up your street. The third game coming out is Fire Emblem Echoes. This is a tactical role-playing game developed by Intelligent Systems and published by Nintendo, and it will be available on the Nintendo 3DS and is set for release in North America and Europe on May the 19th. Now, this game already came out in April in Japan and has been received very positively. Echoes is a retelling of the Fire Emblem Guidance story, which came out on the Famicom in the 1990s. It takes place in the continent of Valentia, and players command 2 armies on opposite sides of the war. We follow the childhood friends Alm and Celicia as they fight fight on opposite sides of a war between their respective nations. Echoes uses the typical Fire Emblem turn-based battle system, where battles take place on a grid-based battlefield, with turns being given for players and enemies. An added function to the game is something known as Melee's turn wheel, a mechanic whereby players can undo 3 turns to redo moves if something has gone wrong. The game will actually have 2 difficulty settings, normal and hard, and 2 modes that dictate the fate of characters that fall in battle. For example, in classic mode, a falling unit is subject to permanent death. A character that falls in battle, a recurring mode in the Fire Emblem series that completely removes fallen characters for the rest of the game. For those that don't want this to be a possibility, casual mode enables units to be revived at the end of a battle. In addition, Fire Emblem Echoes will also feature amiibo support, with compatible figurines being developed of the main protagonist Alm and Delicia. If you are a fan of the Fire Emblem series, then I'm sure you'll want to pick up this game, which comes out in May. The 4th game coming out is The Surge, which is a sci-fi action RPG from German developer Deck 13 and is going to be available on PC, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and is set for release on the 16th of May. Deck 13 Interactive described the game as a Rise of the Robots and Souls style super challenging third-person melee combat, but through the lens of a sci-fi setting. The game takes place in a dystopian future where mankind has exhausted the world's resources and the lines between technology and humanity is blurred. According to the developers, the game paints a grim portrait of the future where the evolution of technology in relation to society and the environment has led to a decadent era for humanity. Unlike in Dark Souls games, however, you don't create your own character and instead you play as a set character a man by the name of Warren, who is an employee at the mysterious Creo Company, a mega corporation that sets out to save the world and where the majority of the game is set. The gameplay involves players using something called an exoskeleton to battle enemies. The combat is very similar to the Souls series, in which many of the enemies can be quite challenging and difficult to fight, and if you don't fight carefully, then you can die very suddenly. The exoskeleton itself can be customized through the game using modular upgrades, and one way in which the combat is very different to the Souls games is that you can actually target different body parts on the enemies, from the head to the torso to the arms to the legs, and you can use finishing moves to literally dismember enemy troops as you fight them. And as you do this, you can the resources and materials that you gain from that can be used to level up, to craft and level up and upgrade your own character. If you are a fan of the Dark Souls games, then you'll probably be interested in Surge, and after the success of Neo, this game looks very interesting, particularly the sci-fi elements of it. The 5th and final game coming out in May is Rime, and this is a third-person adventure puzzle video game developed by Tequila Works. It is set for release on May the 26th and will be available on PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. But if you're hoping to buy this on the Switch, unfortunately you're going to have to wait a little bit longer until the 3rd quarter of this year. The art style can be compared to games like Ico and Journey, and even The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. And creative director Raul Rubio has also referenced the Studio Ghibli films Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away as influences. Rime is a single-player puzzle adventure game about a young boy shipwrecked on a mysterious island after a torrential storm. With no memory of your past, players must use their wits and the guidance of a companionable fox to decipher the challenges and secrets of an expansive world strewn with rugged terrain, wild creatures, and the crumbling ruins of a long-forgotten civilization. Rime looks like a very interesting game. I love the art style, and I'm very much interested in picking it up and playing it. So those are the games coming coming out in May this year. Let me know what you guys think of these and what games you're really looking forward to. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, please of course hit the like button, as always show your support, and if you'd like to stay tuned to check out more content coming in the future, then please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Alright guys and girls, well, take care, and as always, happy gaming. How's it going, guys and girls? Hope you guys are having a great weekend. So it's that time again, guys. It's time to talk about the top 5 games coming out in May 2017, which already looks like it's going to be a very interesting month. So let's begin. The very first game coming out is Prey, which is confinement. The player is basically left to use a variety of weapons and abilities derived from these aliens to avoid being killed as they look to escape the station. The gameplay itself is your typical first-person action game. So there are human protagonist by the name of Morgan Yu, who is a human astronaut orbiting the moon and becomes trapped on the space station Talos 1 when a research hostile alien species by the name of the Typhon escapes. In there like shotguns, assault rifles, pistols, but there are a number of weapons as well, like the glue gun, which looks very interesting, and also certain abilities as well, the ability to hack, to morph, to shapeshift, and all these abilities you get. Comes out on the 5th of May and will be available on the PlayStation 4, PC and Xbox One. Developed by Arcane Studios and published by Bethesda, Prey is a first-person action-adventure survival horror game. Players control the main